Good morning, dear my students. I am glad to see you. Welcome to this my lecture 9, Team Internet Technologies. Lecture plan. First, introduction to Internet Technologies, architecture, the client server, and peer-to-peer. Second, structure of web server, and web applications, object model of the document, HTTP, XTML, CSS, JavaScript, Ajax, CSM. Third, correlation with database, framework, XML, web services, the service-oriented architecture, safety, injections, and cross attacks to the website. Internet technology is the ability of the internet to transmit information and data through different servers and systems. Internet technology is important in many different industries because it allows people to communicate with each other through means that we are not necessarily available in the client server model, and system are divided into clients and servers, each designed for specific purposes. Client have an active role and initiate a communication session by sending requests to servers. Clients must have knowledge of the available servers and the services they provide. Clients and can communicate with servers, only they cannot see each other. Servers have a passive role and response to their clients by acting on each request and returning results. One server generally supports numerous clients. In the peer-to-peer model, an and system have equivalent capabilities and responsibilities, and easy party can initiate a communication session. The participants share a part of their own hardware resources, e.g., storage capacity, link capacity, SPU power. These shared resources are necessary to provide the service or content offered by the peer-to-peer network. Those the participant uh, are both resource providers and resource requester, and use similar networking programs to content with each other in peer-to-peer network. Downlink and uplink data flowers tend to be, but not necessarily symmetric. This is because each connected host simultaneously operated as both client and servers, thus receiving the transmitting on average the same amount of data. There are hundreds of ways to configure web applications that say that most of them follow the same basic structure: a client, a server, and database. The client is what the user interface with. So client side so it is responsible for most of what a user actually sees. Trans the This thing includes uh, defining defining the structure of the web page, setting the look and feel of the web page, implementing a mechanism for responding to use interaction, uh, clicking buttons, extering text, etc. Structure the layout and the content of your web page are defined by HTML. HTML stands for hypertext markup languages. It allows you to describe the basic physical structure of a document using HTML text. Each HTML text describes a specific elements on the documents. Look and feel. To define the look and feel of a web page, web developers as use CSS, which stands for cascading style sheets. CSS is a language that lets you describe how the elements defined in your HTML should be styled, allowing change in font color, layout, simple animation, and other superficient elements. Extensible markup languages. XML is used to describe data. The XML standard is a так, flexible way to create information format and electronically uh, share structure data via the internet public internet as well as via corporate network. XML code, a formal recommendation from the World Wide Web Consortium, is similar uh, hypertext markup languages. Both XML and XML contain markup simple no describe page of file contents. HTML код describes в одну попку, говорят, web-page content mainly text and graphic image only in terms of how it is to be dis- displayed and interacted with. XML data is known as describing or self-defining, meaning that the structure of the data is embedded with the data. Thus, when the data arrives, there is no need to pre-build the structure to store the data. It is dynamically understood using the XML. The XML format can be used by any individual or group of individuals or companies that want to share information in a consistent way. XML is actually a simpler and easier to use subset on the standard generalist markup languages, which is standard or create a document structure. Extensible hypertext markup language HTML is part of the family of XML markup languages. It mirrors or extends versions of the widely used hypertext markup languages. The languages in which web pages are formulated. JavaScript is an interpreted programming of script languages from Netscape. In general, script languages are easier not and faster to code in the than the more structured and compiled languages, which as C and C sharp uh, languages generally take long to process and compiled languages, but very useful for shorter programs. JavaScript is used in website development to do such thinking as automatically change formatted data on a web page. Cause, cause a link to page to appear in a popular window uh, course next or graphic image to change during a mouse roller. JavaScript uses some of the same ideas found in Java. The compiled object-oriented programming derived from C, uh, C++. JavaScript code can be embedded in HTML pages and interpreted by the web browser on client. JavaScript can also be run at the server and as in a Microsoft active server pages before the page is client to the re- requester. Both microphone Microsoft both Microsoft and Netscape uh, browsers browsers support JavaScript, but sometimes in a slightly different way. Ajax, asynchronous JavaScript, and XML is a method of building interactive application for the web that process user requests immediately. Ajax combines 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 several programming tools, including JavaScript, dynamic HTML, uh, extensible markup languages, cascading style sheets, this document object mobile, and the Microsoft Object XML HTTP requests. Ajax allows content on web page to update immediately when a user performs uh, an action, uh, unlike an HTTP request during which users must wait for a whole new page to load. For example, with a forecasting site called display local conditions on the site on the page without delay after a user types in a zip code. A list of reference to explore. Thanks for your attention.